Nation, Harry here. It's morning coffee time, and I'm with Drew Saur. Drew, how's it going? Where are you located, my friend?
It is going well. It's a beautiful day here. I'm out on Long Island, New York.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Well, that's why it's still coffee for me, darn near
Yeah,
lunch for you.
yeah, getting hungry.
Um, well, Drew, you and I met on LinkedIn, and that's an important part of the story that what a powerful platform. You had a post up about what you do, and we're going to get to that. And it kind of dovetailed. It was in the zone with what I'm trying to do with the Pocket MBA and some new endeavors. And we connected on LinkedIn, and doggone it, here we are, strangers who are now friends, and we're online. And I'll hand it over to you. In fact, I have a little thing I call the talking stick. We're number one, so I'm going to hand you the talking stick. Uh, Take us back to your career and what is your passion today? Because this is a really good story.
Yeah, thanks, Harry, and thanks for having me here today. My story is definitely a technology story. I started as an engineer in college, became a coder. I did go to the corporate world when I started, and
And we forgive you.
right. Well, we'll get to the story. I have escaped, as I mentioned earlier, which is nice. But I did have a really fruitful corporate career. I grew through the ranks. Ended up running a large IT group for a financial service firm in New York City. Um, but like many people, I kind of got through my career, and at a certain point, the corporate life is a little grinding, and you want to do
Hmm.
your own thing. And I also felt that a lot of what I did during, particularly as a leader in IT, is working with other technology folks. And there's this standard pattern that we all have, I think, in technology, which is when we think about our careers, when we think about building businesses, this idea of we wish that the technology skills were enough, right? The idea that if I'm just good at technology, I should get promoted, I should get all this stuff. And unfortunately, that's just not how it works. Yeah, there's this whole suite of other skills that you need to understand how business works, finances, be able to communicate, be able to build relationships. And a lot of the people I worked with in the corporate world kind of had trouble getting over that hump. There's this kind of gap to get to the higher levels. And I decided that was kind of my passion in life, is like I'd kind of gotten through that. I'd figured a few things out, and I wanted to help other people do the same thing. So that's where I started my own kind of executive career coaching firm. And that's what I do. I work with people to build all the other skills that you need to be successful, whether in the corporate life or even building your own business as a technologist. And so that's what I do now.
Yeah. Yeah, my experience has been, and it's in my book. But by the way, not for today, but love to get your feedback on that. Is you have a chance to kind of
Of course,
plow
yeah.
through it, and I mean that sincerely, because I think every author should have critiques. It just makes us better. Feedback, overused phrase, the breakfast of champions. But in my book, along those lines, the finder, minder, grinder, and I say pick two out of three. And what we see in technology is nobody has trouble with the grinder portion,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
work, and that's my career, right? The
Yeah.
Windows secrets and that kind of thing. Love the work. And then the question becomes, can you get the business, the finder, and can you manage the business? And Drew, it's rare to find someone that's three out of three. I like I say, pick two, and then
Hmm.
hire around the third, if that makes sense. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree completely. And it's one of the most difficult things I think as a technologist is you're 100% right. And to really build that business eventually, you do have to kind of hire the grinders. Like we all get this joy of working on technology. And it's something that I'll always do. And even as a business owner and other things, like I still need to keep my hands dirty, but that's not what drives the business, right? I think that's one of the hardest things for a technologist to do is to move out of that grinder role and say, okay, after I've done that for a decade or two, I can keep doing that. But if I really want to build the business, as you say, like if I kind of want this MBA, if I want to build a whole package, I have to let that go. And that's sometimes hard. But the good thing is there's great technologists. You can always find grinders who can work with you to build your business, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So what we're going to do is, well, let me give the context. How long have you been in this line of work, your new line of work? Because that's always interesting to me. I know you recently started in terms of geologic epics.
Right, exactly. And so, I formally launched my business earlier this year. So I'm in my first year as sort of the independent businessman. I will say though that this is something I've done for a decade or more. As soon as I got sort of in charge of other people, as soon as I had to do kind of performance reviews and mentoring and things like that, that's kind of when I started having these conversations with people. And again, this pattern just comes up over and over. So, I've sort of honed it over a decade or two, but then this is the first year. So now I'm doing all the stuff, the finder and the minder, as you say. That's what I do now as a primary part of my business.
Great. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to check in next quarter with you, see how it's going, and be careful. I might try to team you up with Beatrice Maltzer, a well-known player in our space, used to work for SMB Nation. She's now doing, for lack of a better word, business peer groups, which again would be on the periphery of what you're doing. But bottom line is you're both following your passions. Thank you, Drew, for your time. Continued success.
Great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
All righty.